A geometric sequence is a sequence where the ratio between two consecutive terms is a constant called R, the common ratio. So the big difference here is that arithmetic, we had a common difference. And what does difference mean to do? Subtract. And so that's what we were doing with arithmetic. We were subtracting to find out what the difference was. Today we're going to be doing geometric, which has a common ratio. Does anybody remember how you get a ratio in math? Divide. So to get a ratio, you're going to divide. So let me show you what that looks like. Is the given sequence geometric? So that's your key word right there, geometric. That means you're going to divide and see what happens. Okay, so when you see geometric, I don't want to subtract these anymore. I want to divide them. So let me show you. So start with 9, and you're going to divide it by 3. And that gives you 3. Okay, I also need you to test the other ones. Then I'm going to go to 27. What am I going to divide 27 by? 9, and I need to double check. It does give me 3. And then I'm going to check the last one as well. 81 divided by 27. Does that give you 3? Yes. So, is the given sequence geometric? If you get the same number every time, it's a yes. Just like it was before, you had to get the same number. And then it says, if so, what was the value of R? R stands for the ratio. So for every ratio, what did it equal? 3. Okay. All right, next one. Is the given sequence geometric? That means I need to divide to test it out. So I'm going to do negative 24 divided by what? 96. Just like we did before. Remember how we, yes. Okay. Okay, negative 24 divided by 96, anybody? Negative 0.25. You can do decimals or fractions. I don't care, whatever your personal preference is, okay? I'm also going to test 6 divided by what? Negative 24. All right, and you get negative 0.25 again. Okay, and then the last one, negative 1.5 divided by 6, same thing, okay? All right, so for this one, Laura, is the answer yes or no? Yes. And Austin, what is R? Negative 0.25. You could also put negative 1/4. Either way is fine. Okay, part C. A geometric sequence has A1 is 4, so the first term is 4, and R equals 6. What is the fourth term of this sequence? Okay, this time they've given you the R, so we kind of have to do it backwards. So I know what the R is. So, yes, guys, please quit jumping ahead. If you look over here to get R, I know I divided, but that was to get R. If you already have it, you're going to multiply. So 4 times 6 is what? 24. And then 24 times 6, anybody? 144. And 144 times 6. Yes. It's asking for the fourth term, which that's what I just got to, because this is A1, A2, A3, A4. Okay? So 864. All right. Questions on that? Yes. To use that formula, which we're about to get to. Okay. Good question. Other questions? Okay. This part right here, remember, won't be on a quiz or a test. It's just to kind of show you where the formula comes from. Okay. So consider a geometric sequence whose first term is A1 and whose common ratio is R. Okay. All right, so A1 is the first term. Y'all know that. To get the second term, you would take A1 and you would multiply by R, which is what we just did in an example. We multiplied by R to get the next term. Okay? All right, does anybody know how you could get the third term? Say it again. Good, you could do A2 times R. Anybody know another way to get the third term? A1 times, good, times R times R. All right, what we're going to do over here is write it shorter. So I'm going to write A1 times R. What is R times R? R squared. So that's how I'm going to write it on that side. Okay. All right, how can I get the fourth term? All right, I could do A3 times R. That's one way to get it. Or I could take the first term and times it by what? R times R times R. How do you write that shorter? Good, R cubed. A1 times R cubed. All right, and the last little experiment for the fifth term, how could you get that? A4 times R. Or you could do what? Good. And how do we write that shorter? Good. Okay, so if you look at the pattern, you can see that the formula comes from the pattern. So AN equals A1. I'm going to put R in parentheses. That way the calculator does a better job of giving you the right answer. A1 parentheses R, because parentheses mean to multiply. What is the relationship between this number and this number? Are they the same or did they minus 1? They minus 1, so N minus 1. Okay. All right, this formula will always be an exponential equation. Why is it called an exponential? Anybody know why it's called an exponential? Because it has exponents, okay? So none of these have exponents. So anytime there's an exponent, it makes an exponential equation. Do not multiply A1 and R together first. You can't multiply those together first. What do you have to do first when you're working it out? Exponents, because please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, okay? And lastly, put parentheses around any R. I do it around all of them, but you definitely have to do it if it's negative or a fraction, or the calculator will give you the wrong answer. I always put parentheses, but you definitely have to do negatives and fractions in parentheses. Questions? All right, so let's do an actual example. So if you see right here, it says R equals 4. Do any of these formulas over here have R in them? No. So if you see an R, use the one with R in it. Okay, over here, geometric formula. So AN equals A1 parentheses R to the N minus 1. So this is the formula I'm using when it has an R. Okay, and this is a typo right here. It should say geometric if you care. Okay, so A1 is 2, R is 4, find the 8th term. Okay, so I don't know AN. What goes in for A1? Anybody? 2. What goes in for R? 4. And what is your N? Good, so it's 8 minus 1, which is 7. You can type that all in your calculator. In your calculator, you do 2, parentheses 4, and then caret key. That's above the divide button. Put in a 7. Okay. All right, what you got? Yep. Anybody's calculator not working? Part B, Jonathan, what's one thing you know? Good. A1 is -1. Kendra, what else can you do on B? You can find your what? Very good. You can find R. So I take these. What do I do with them to find R? Divide them. So 1/4, and I'm going to use parentheses in my calculator, divided by -1. What are we getting? Yeah. Okay, you could do the rest of them, but you don't have to on this one because they already tell you it's geometric. You're not trying to find yes or no, okay? So this is my R, -0.25, okay? All right, so Ashley, help me use this formula. What would I write? Well, see how it has ... So we don't know. So I'm going to put AN equals. What would N be on this one? So right here, that A5 is N, -1 gives you 4. Okay? Do math, enter. No, don't round. Do math, enter sometimes if it's a crazy decimal. So you either need to write this or the whole decimal, one or the other. Don't round. Okay? So either make it a fraction or write out the whole decimal. Yes? C, write the nth term formula for the sequence. So for the formula, it's just going to be AN equals. Remember, for a formula, you're not going to get a number answer. You're going to get something weird. Do I know what A1 is? What is it? 3. Okay. Sterling, do I know what R is, or can I find it? How can I find it? Good. -36 divided by 3 gives you -12. Good. So that's your R. And Ethan, do I know what N is? Nope. So I just put N -1. That's your answer. That's the formula. You can't do anything more with that. Why can't you multiply 3 times -12? You have to do exponents first, and we don't know what the exponent is. Okay? All right. Questions on that? Okay. Flip it over. The 7th term of the sequence is 62,500, and the common ratio is 5. What is the first term? Cole, what's something we know? How do we write that? Good. Jasmine, what's something else we know? Good. R is 5. All right, so we're going to use this formula right here because we have R. So, Jesse, do I know what goes in for AN? Very good. 62,500 goes in for AN. Good. I don't know A1. Do I know R? 5. All right, let me call on somebody for the next thing. Carter, what would my N be? Very good. So this right here, guys, your little numbers you're in, -1 is 6. Okay? All right. We're trying to get A1 by itself. What's with A1? 5 to the 6. So you could do 5 to the 6 in your calculator, or you could take a shortcut and just divide by 5 to the 6. Okay? I prefer the shortcut. You're welcome to do it the long way. Okay? So these are being multiplied, so I got to divide by 5 to the 6. What does that give you? 4. What's the question asking? Did we find it? Yeah, doggy. All right, B, what is the common ratio for the sequence where the first term is 96 and the sixth term is 3? Autumn, what's one thing we know? How do I write that? Good. Kendra, what's something else we know? Good. Okay. All right, so let's use our handy dandy formula right here. Austin, do we know what goes in for AN? What? Very good. A1 is 96. Do I know R? Nope. And anybody, what is my N? So 6 minus 1 gives you 5. Okay, be careful on this one. What are we trying to get by itself on this one? R. The first thing you have to move is the 96. That's what has to go first. How do you get rid of 96? Divide it, because this is being multiplied. So you divide by 96. Okay? 1 over 32? Yes, no? Okay. 1 over 32 equals R to the 5th. Does anybody remember from last year how you get rid of the 5? Very good. You root it. So you put your root symbol over there, but you also have to put a 5 in front because we're not square rooting, we're 5th rooting. So in your calculator, you hit the math button. You hit the math, and you go down to number 5, and you hit enter. And then you have to use these keys right here and go over twice. And you're going to type in a 5. And then you're going to go back underneath and type in 1 divided by 32. And what do you get? 0.5. Okay, number C/17. Ashley, what's one thing you know? Very good. Autumn, what's something else we know? Good. All right, just like we did last time, whenever they give you 2 A's and neither of them are A1, what do you have to do? A system. Okay, you got to do a system. So I'm going to use this formula over here because this is what we're doing, geometric. So AN, what's going in for AN? Equals, do I know A1? No. Do I know R? No. What is the N that's associated with the 32,000? 9 minus 1, which is 8. Okay. Ethan, give the second equation a go. Good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing something different right here, so stop and pay attention. What was that? Scared me. We're not going to subtract these. What are we going to do, you think, instead of subtract? Divide them. Okay, good. Whoever said that. No, it does not. Okay. All right, we're going to divide 32,805 divided by this. It's going to be a fraction or a decimal. 1 over what? Okay. Equals your A1s cancel, just like they did before. Your R drops down before your D dropped down. Today your R is dropping down. Okay, here's another thing I need you to really pay attention to. I'm dividing R8 by R11. I am dividing them. Okay, I didn't lie about that. But you have to remember from all your math rules. So this one's not mama. This one is DS. Right? Mama's when you do what? Multiply add. So this one's divide and subtract. So little numbers never get divided. You don't ever divide little numbers. You subtract them. Okay? So 8 minus 11 is -3. Okay? All right. In your calculator, I'm ready to root it. And you put a -3 on the outside. The calculator will take care of it. It doesn't matter that it's negative. So you would hit the math button, make it a -3 on the outside, 1/27 on the inside. And you get what? 3. All right. Cole, what do we always do after that step? Good. Plug the 3 back in. Okay. Sterling, help me with that step. What do I write? Yep. All right. Jacob, what would I do next to get A1 by itself? Good. Anybody, what does that give you? All right, Rudy, what is the question asking? Have we found that yet? No. Anybody, how could we find the 18th term? Well, red, yes. Go back to the formula, okay? So the 18th term is A18. That's what we're trying to find. So I'm going to write A18 equals. Do I know A1? 5, I just found it. Do I know R? Right there. And 17. Yep. Somebody call it out slowly. Impressive. All right. D. The 5th term in the sequence is 768, and the 9th term is 196,608. What is the 3rd term of the sequence? Carter, what's one thing you know? How do I write that? Oh, a sub 5. I like it. Jalen, what else do I know? Good. Okay. All right, AJ, what do I got to do from there? System. Because I have 2 A's. Gabrielle, what's my first equation going to be? Very good. Laura, what would my second equation be? Very good. All right, Eden, what am I going to do with 768 and 196,608? Divide it. Very good. Somebody tell me what that gives you. Okay. My A1s cancel. Pandora, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you do with 4 and 8? Very good. You subtract your little numbers, DS. Okay, so that gives you -4. And Mason, what do you have to do last in that step? Good. So put your -4 on the outside. Anybody, what does that give you? Okay. All right, Jonathan, what do you do after that step? Good. All right, Denise, help me do that. What do I write? In parentheses is 4 to the 4th. Okay. Dan, what would you do next right here? to the 4th. Yep. Anybody? A1 is 3. Okay. Jesse, what's the question asking? Have we found that yet? No. All right. Anybody? How do we find the third term? A sub 3 equals 3, 4. Just a second. Was that you, Rudy? Did you say 48? No. Oh. Good. Okay, questions on those two? Okay, last section. It gets easier right here. Geometric means represent the terms in between, just like it did last week. It's the terms in between. Circle the 4 geometric means between 2 and 468. So what are they? Okay, so it's just the ones in between. Don't do any work. The 4 means it's whatever between, yes. Yep. Okay. Okay, down here. Find the 3 geometric means for -6 to -486. Have they already done 3 blanks? So they've already set it up. What do I label -6? A1, then A2, A3, A4, A5. Okay. Keyword is geometric. So I'm using this formula right here. Okay, got to use this formula. What goes in for AN? Because it's the last term. Equals. What goes in for A1? All right, I don't know R. And I do know N. 4, because it comes from right here. The -486 was the 5th term, so 5 minus 1 gives you 4. Okay, let me call on somebody. Jasmine, what would you have to do next to get R by itself? Okay, before you do that, you got to move the -6. How do you move the -6? Divide it. You got to divide by -6 first. What does that give you? 81? Okay. 81 equals R to the 4th. And Jesse, what do you do next? 4th root it. And what are y'all getting? 3. Okay, go back and fill in the blanks. Let me call on somebody. Kendra, how do I get the next number in the blank? I take -6 and... Very good. You multiply it by 3. So that gives you what, guys? -18. Then negative. And then... Okay. All right, find the 2 geometric means between -20 and 1280. Eden, how would I set this one up? So there's going to be 2 in between, so 2 blanks, and then 1280. Okay. Dan, what do I do next?
1280 equals -20 parentheses R.
Good, because this is A4. Okay. All right, Carter, what do you do next? Good. Somebody tell me what that gives you. Denise, what do you do next? You cube root it. And R is what? And Mason, how do I get the numbers in the blanks? Okay, which is 80. And then 80 times negative 4? 320.